Alrighty, so this is day 11. It might be 12. I think it's 11, between 11 and 12, of me quitting mindless media consumption. So this is the third video I've made about this, and I've decided to kind of organize what I'm talking about a little bit better, so it's hopefully a better experience for both me and you. I've got some notes here. Two general categories of what I'm going to go over. So the two categories are, I'm going to talk about what things I'm doing that are different than how I used to consume media, and why it's different than a detox. And then the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about what I'm noticing in my cognitive function that has changed since I have quit mindlessly consuming media. So in the first bucket, mindless media consumption versus a detox. Quitting mindless media consumption versus detoxing from media altogether. I am not detoxing from media. I am using media. However, it's like I put some goggles on, or I have like a new lens through which I see and have a relationship with my media consumption. So whereas before I would kind of, anytime I have a moment to be on the train or stand in line, I would whip out my phone, check my email, check social media, what a lot of people do. Now I have a different relationship with media consumption, and I only get on when I am specifically doing something. So the lens that I'm wearing is one where everything I do, every interaction that I have with media has a purpose. There's an intention behind it. That means that my time and attention that I do give to social media or media in general is much more aligned with my values and my goals. There are 5 pillars through which I try to squeeze value out of my media consumption. Those values are relaxation, entertainment, education, connecting/community, and sharing my own content, my own journey, my own work. So those are the 5 pillars through which I am always having an intention behind what I do. So what do my days look like? Generally, I don't get on media at all until after lunch. In the morning, I'll do some work, I'll do some physical activity. I like to take a walk often in the morning. And then after I do those things, I will sit down for lunch. The first time that I am getting on media at all for the day is after I've had lunch. During that time, I will basically check and respond to everything. So I'll check my email for the first time. I'll check any social media apps that I want to. Anything out there that I think that there may be someone trying to reach out to me, I will log on to those things, read the messages, and respond during that time. So we're in afternoon territory at this time. After I have that time, and it's usually like an hour, maybe max, that I will go through and do all that. Oftentimes it's much shorter, like 15 to 30 minutes. After I have that afternoon admin time where I am exchanging with media, it goes either way. If I worked out earlier in the morning and I'm particularly kind of like needing to rest for a while, rest my body for a bit, like I can feel it when I'm like, all right, I could take a nap. I might continue that admin media time with a bit of social media engagement time. And this is a time that I allow for myself that is anywhere from about 25 to 40 minutes. Beyond that, I start to feel repulsed. I start to feel like sick by being online. This, again, you can go back and watch my other videos to see how I kind of got to this point where I have this like visceral repulsion to mindless media consumption, but it'll kick in around like 25, 30 minutes where I'll start feeling kind of like ick and want to get off. But I do value media, and there's things that I want to look up. For example, I was curious about a colon cleanse. I had like heard of this, and I'm like, how do you clean your colon? I wonder, like, is it even safe? Like, how do people do it? So I had that in the back of my mind as something that I wanted to go look up on YouTube and hear people talking about it, maybe hear different doctors and just learn about it. I wanted to learn about something. So there was an intention behind that. Sometimes my intention, one of the pillars of me getting on social media will be to laugh, to just have something fun to look at, to have entertainment. That is a part of the intentions. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting something out of this. And it's I'm getting, 5 or 10 minutes of it. I'm not spending 2 hours doing that. Like, it feels like my time and my values are aligned. So yeah, in the afternoon, I will possibly have like a social media kind of fun period of 25 to 30 minutes, or I will immediately go into kind of my evening work, and that's where I'll do more work, or I might do some housework. I sometimes like to go for a walk again in the evening. I might do some social activity. So there'll be another chunk of time where I will not be on media at all. And then in the evening after dinner, I will do another quick check with my email, and another kind of general social media check to see if there's anything I want to read and respond to. And then I will either have an entertainment period, where I'll like watch TV or I'll watch a movie. And so I spend anywhere from maybe a 30-minute show to an hour and a half to 2 hour long movie. Because I have that time specified for either social activity or like relaxation and entertainment, I find myself really trying to maximize what content I choose. I'm much more selective about what content I choose during that time period. So I've been watching a lot of documentaries because it gives me relaxation, but it's also stimulating and intellectually gets my gears kind of churning for creative stimulus. And it serves many purposes. And so I found myself kind of drawn, like, okay, I only am allowing myself, this hour or so a day to have, TV relaxation. And so I find myself wanting to get other things out of it, other curiosities. But then there's also been things that I've watched purely for entertainment, that like, okay, tonight I just want to laugh, or I just want to kind of be engaged in like a story, and I don't need to be learning or super stimulated by anything. I have those times too. It flows. Going into the second half of my video here, I want to talk about what I'm noticing cognitively, like the cognitive capacities that I have expanded. And I think one of the main things that's happening really is my dopamine receptors are healing. So when I am only getting on media because there is like a clear purpose, like something that I have to do, need to do, is aligned with my values, this means that there's a lot of times that there's a lot of voids. There's a lot of kind of moments of like, all right, do I want to stare at a wall or stare out the window? Like there's these moments of boredom, of a void when I'm out on the bus or on the train, public transit. I'll have moments where it's like, okay, I'm just looking around right now. Like there are moments of void. So what I'm noticing is that moment, and I'm sure you've probably heard other people, if you're interested in dopamine and how social media consumption affects it, it basically kind of robs you of the motivation that you would naturally experience in those moments of boredom, where there's like a gap between you doing something, getting stimulated, and not. That element of it has led to a lot more curiosity, like natural curiosity. I found myself in those gaps also having these inquisitive thoughts of like, I've been interested in tuning up my vocabulary, for example. There's just more space. So somebody used the word subterfuge or subterfuge, subterfuge. It was a word that I've heard a couple times before in my life. Not often, but I have heard it before. And I was like, I had this moment of like, I don't know what that word means. I'm going to look it up. And this has happened several times over like the last week or so that I'm like, you know what? I don't really know what that word means. I use it. I hear it before. But For example, I wrote down a few. The words pandering, placate, and pacify. I was like, I think I kind of use those words interchangeably, and I'm maybe not exactly using them correctly. So I'm gonna investigate and go research about these words and just like make sure that I'm using them correctly. Also, gestalt. If anybody can explain to me in just very clear words what gestalt is, it seems like it's like a piece of a larger form, but it's a very abstract idea, and I hear people using it, and I feel like there's not a clear definition within the context that they're using it. So if you can clearly identify what gestalt is, please comment and let me know. I would love to hear what it is. Another thing that I am noticing is that I have less guilt when I am not doing something creatively. Like if I'm like, my creative energy is just kind of zapped for the day, I don't have this guilt of knowing that I've also wasted time on social media. So it's very a pure relationship of like, all right, I'm done with like the creative work for the day. I'm gonna go maybe for an extra walk, maybe I'll listen to some music, maybe I'll read. I find other things to fill my time, but I found that in the past that if I didn't really accomplish what I wanted to creatively in the day, I'd also have a lot of guilt around the fact that I know that I also wasted dopamine and wasted my time on mindless media consumption as well. So there was like this guilt that was always saddled with me when I didn't reach my creative potential. That's pretty much gone. I really don't have that guilt anymore because I know that I didn't waste time or energy. I'm gonna end this video kind of talking about the overall cognitive feeling that I am now embodying, and that is one of there just being a lot of space. A lot of space for original thought. I didn't realize how much when you're just consuming media all the time, somebody else's ideas are always coming into your mental space. And when there are clear moments that are just open, you have much more capacity for genuine original thoughts to come through. I can't tell you how many times I've thought in the past like week or so, I've had a thought and been like, nobody has ever thought that before. Like I have never heard that idea out in the world. I'm sure I know how like the ether works, like we're all connected. Surely somebody's like thought something similar, but really thoughts that have come through that I've been like, dang, that's fresh. Like that's a new thought. That's kind of a wild way of looking at it. Just totally new perspectives. And as a creator, I find a lot of value in that. There is a lot of value in having moments where real original thought can come through, and by no longer having a desire or an impulse to go on and consume mindless media in those moments of void and boredom, that creates the space. That's where there is the space for original ideas to come through. So that's a wrap on day 11/12. And yeah, I'll post again in about 3 or 4 days and let you know how this evolves and the new things that I'm noticing. Thank you for watching. If you're enjoying my content, or if you want to give feedback, I'll take it. I can handle it. There's certainly things that I'm working on, like kind of having more organization with the way that I'm talking. I'm trying a new mic today, so if you've watched my other videos and you like this mic better, like tell me and I'll keep using it. But other than that, I'll talk to you later, and thanks for watching. Ciao.